All right, everybody, get ready because we're taking a deep dive today into something pretty incredible, OpenAI's o1.
Yeah,
And let me tell you, this AI is something else. It's making waves, and we're going to find out why.
it is.
This isn't just about simple questions and answers anymore. This thing goes way deeper. It's like having almost like a super smart friend who can explain not just the what, but the why behind everything.
Yeah.
And where are we getting this info? Well, from a fantastic article over at fernandojuca.com. They're on top of all things AI, so we know it's good stuff. But is o1 really as revolutionary as everyone's saying? What do you think?
It's definitely a massive step forward in how we think about AI. The thing that has everyone so excited is the way that it tackles problems, you know? Instead of just like connecting dots, it's like o1 is out there building a whole new constellation every single time, and that's not an exaggeration. And this has huge implications, especially in areas like data science or any kind of complex problem solving.
So we're not talking about surface-level robots anymore. This is the real deal.
No, not at all.
The article uses this phrase, extremely intelligent companion.
Yeah.
Does that kind of sum it up, would you say?
That's an interesting way to put it. It really gets at this idea that it's not just designed to give you a what, it's designed to really unpack the why. And I think that's really what sets o1 apart from some of the other AI models that are out there.
So how is this different from, like, say, asking your chat bot to write you a quick email?
So imagine this. You're trying to analyze a really complicated data set for work, right? A chatbot might give you some very basic trends, maybe based on keywords that it's picking up. But o1 would actually go in, dissect that data,
Interesting.
identify patterns that you wouldn't even see, and then explain to you why those patterns are significant.
Wow.
And it does all of this in a way that's tailored to you and your specific needs.
So it's about true understanding,
Exactly.
not just spitting out information that it's been fed.
It's about connecting the dots and then figuring out why those dots exist in the first place.
That is wild. No wonder developers are geeking out over this. I mean, the article even mentioned one developer, Karina Nguyen,
Right.
who used o1 to build a full working retro space game in under 2 minutes.
Yeah, and that just highlights the creative problem-solving capabilities that we're talking about here, right? I mean, 2 minutes to build a game. Traditionally, that's something that would take even experienced programmers days, if not longer. And what's even more incredible is it's not just the speed, it's the quality of the code.
Yeah, it's not just doing it fast, it's doing it well.
Exactly. It's elegant, it's efficient. It's almost like o1 is teaching us new ways to approach these problems.
It's like having like a digital Mozart for code or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not just games, right?
Yeah.
You know, the article talks about this other guy, Amar Reshi, who built a whole weather app using o1 and something called Cursor Composer.
Right.
And get this, 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
I can barely decide what I want to eat for breakfast in 10 minutes.
It's honestly mind-blowing, and what's so significant about those examples is that both of those traditionally require like a really deep understanding of coding, right?
Yeah, you have to know what you're doing.
And o1 is lowering that barrier to entry significantly. It's like having an expert programmer whispering code in your ear.
This is giving me chills. This is exciting stuff. Are we talking about like a potential revolution in how we work, especially in things like coding and data analysis?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, it's like o1 is saying, you bring the ideas, I'll take care of the rest.
Right.
You don't need to worry about the nitty-gritty. Let me handle all of that. But it's not just about speed.
Right.
It goes back to that depth of analysis, that ability to actually almost think before responding that really sets o1 apart.
Okay, so
And to truly understand what I mean by that, we kind of have to dig a little deeper into how o1 actually approaches problem solving.
let's do it. Okay, so we're not talking about just a fancy calculator here.
Yeah.
This is something totally different.
It's a whole different ballgame.
So how does that work in practice? I mean, is it really thinking, like the article says?
That's the question, isn't it? The way o1 works is actually pretty fascinating. So instead of just relying on pattern recognition like, some AI models do,
Right.
o1.1 actually breaks down a problem into all of its core components, all the little pieces.
Interesting.
It's almost like it reverse engineers the question to understand all of the principles that are at play underneath.
It's not just about connecting the dots. It's like understanding why those dots are there to begin with.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, think about it this way. If you asked like a basic AI to write you a poem about, let's say, the ocean, it might string together words and phrases that you typically associate with the ocean, right? Like waves, salt, blue, that kind of thing.
Right, like a computer trying to do poetry.
Exactly. And it would probably sound kind of generic, right?
Yeah.
Whereas O1, if you asked it to write a poem about the ocean, it would try to really understand, like, what is the ocean? Like the vastness of it, the power, the mystery, you know?
Right.
It would even maybe go into, like, metaphors, literary devices to evoke those feelings in the poem.
Okay, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But how does that actually work in, like, a real-world situation? Like, take that weather app, for example.
Sure.
How is O1 doing that differently?
So it's not just pulling data from a weather service and showing it to you.
Right.
It's actually analyzing that data, you know, looking for patterns, anomalies, like if there's a sudden temperature drop or a shift in the wind.
Interesting.
And it uses that analysis to make predictions about the weather.
Wow.
It's like having a meteorologist inside your app.
So again, it's not just speed. It's not just efficiency.
Right.
It's like the quality of the results are just on another level.
Absolutely. And it's this ability to think deeply that allows it to take on these really complex tasks. The article mentions how they tested it on problems from the International Math Olympiad, which, if you don't know, those are designed to stump even the smartest math people.
Oh, yeah?
And O1 just blew it out of the water.
I'm hooked. Tell me everything.
So they had O1 tackle these problems, and it got an 83% success rate.
83%.
Which, to put that in perspective, GPT-4, which is no slouch, you know.
Right, it's the big one.
It's a very powerful AI model, only got 13% on those same problems.
It's like the difference between a casual chess player and like a grandmaster or something.
Exactly. And it goes back to that fundamental difference in how O1 approaches a problem. You know, It's not just memorizing formulas or recognizing patterns. It's about real understanding and reasoning, which is incredible.
This is really impressive stuff. But, you know, with great power comes, I guess, potential drawbacks.
Yeah.
The article did mention some limitations with O1, like speed and cost. Can you unpack that a bit?
Sure. Yeah, so all of this deep thinking does come at a cost, literally. So it's significantly more expensive to use than other AI models, and the processing time can also be a bit longer.
Okay, so no instant gratification?
Not quite. Think seconds, not milliseconds.
Got it. Okay, so who is this right for? Is O1 for everyone?
That's the question, isn't it? So it's an amazing tool, but it might not be for everyone.
It's like having all the tools in the toolbox.
Right.
And you just got to use the right one.
Exactly.
So if you're doing something super intense like complex data analysis or scientific modeling, anything that needs that deep thinking,
right,
O1 is the way to go.
Exactly.
But if you're, just writing some emails or you need some ideas,
right,
GPT-4 still does a fantastic job.
Think of it like this. You wouldn't use a sledgehammer to hang a picture.
True. Right.
You pick the tool that's appropriate for the task at hand, and it's the same thing with AI, right? The key is knowing which tool is best for which job and how to use those tools effectively.
100%. It's all about understanding those strengths and limitations.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to say, this whole thinking thing, it's kind of blowing my mind.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, what's next for O1? Like, what happens when you have an AI that can solve those super complex problems, but also learn and adapt at this crazy speed? What could that even look like?
It's really the million-dollar question, right? If it can already tackle those International Math Olympiad problems.
Right, exactly.
Imagine, like, future versions of this thing.
Yeah.
We could be talking AI designing groundbreaking technologies.
It's like sci-fi.
Curing diseases. Writing symphonies that rival Beethoven.
Stop. It's too much.
I know, right?
Now I'm picturing an AI writing partner for my next screenplay.
Right.
But really, it's exciting, but it's also kind of, whoa. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. Anytime you have a really powerful technology, there are ethical considerations to think about.
Of course.
But, I think what's really important here is that we approach all of these advancements responsibly.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that AI is developed and used in a way that ultimately benefits all of us.
Absolutely. It can't just be about the wow factor.
Exactly.
It's got to be about using it for good.
For good, yeah.
And who knows, maybe O1 is that first step towards like a future where humans and AI work together,
Yeah.
to solve some of those really big problems.
That's the dream, right?
That we can't do on our own.
Exactly. Like, imagine a world where AI is helping us combat climate change.
Yes.
Cure diseases.
Yes.
Create a future that's equitable and sustainable for everybody.
Now that's a future I can get behind.
Me too.
Well, this has been amazing. I have to say, this deep dive has been incredible.
It's been fun.
Thank you. I really appreciate you walking us through all of this. It's been so interesting.
My pleasure. Always a pleasure to chat AI with you.
And to all of you listening out there, thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the world of O1. We hope you've learned a lot. Maybe had a couple whoa moments in there.
I had a few.
I know, I definitely did. And remember, the future of AI, it's being written every day.
That's right.
So stay curious, keep exploring, and we'll catch you in the next deep dive.